Welcome to One-on-One with Call That Linden. I'm here today with David Celetti. Hi, David.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing very well. You brought donuts, so you are the studio, the office favorite at the moment. Thank you for that.
No problem.
Welcome to Sue Online. So, David, tell me about yourself.
Well, my name is David Celetti, and I was born and raised in Ward 5, which is now changed to Ward 4. I was born at 323 Moretta Street. My father was John Celetti. My mother was Elda Celetti. Yes, and I grew up and lived my entire life in Ward 5-4. Wherever what do you want to call it today? You want to call it 4?
Yes.
Let's call it 4, okay. But the people in Ward on the streets, they know. So I went to St. Teresa School. I was a grade kindergarten through grade 8. I did St. Mary's College to 9 to 13, which doesn't happen anymore, right?
Yes, I did 13 as well.
I did 1 year at Oklahoma University, and I got on the railroad, and I worked there for 50 years running trains.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah.
So, tell me, obviously you love the city of Sault Ste. Marie.
I do.
Yeah. Why did you want to run for council?
Okay.
And I know this is a question that some people say, it's so cliche, but it's not. It's a really important question to me. So
Well, it is an important question, and do you want one reason, or do you want 14 million reasons?
So long as it fills 10 minutes, you can tell me. Yeah. No,
okay, I think the outgoing council is they have so many irons in the fire right now that they haven't got a priority straight. The 14 million reasons is the $14 million they're spending on a plaza down on Queen Street. When 3 blocks down the road, we have a failing mall. And I can't see the idea behind all that. I can't really figure that one out when there's so many more important issues to deal with rather than building a plaza on Queen Street. So that's one reason. There's others, but that's the main thing. I don't know how they can. I think they're still waiting for money from government. I don't know.
That was for the moving of the mill market, or
yes.
So the mill market itself was they had to approve it by 2 p.m. before their last. You can't move funds around, as you would know. So 2 o'clock p.m. they had to make the decision, and they hadn't got FedNor training, which is the FedNor training. So the FedNor payment. So they went ahead and said, okay, well, if it costs $1 million extra, then it's coming from this allocated fund.
I see.
Which would be your taxpayers' money.
That's right. And that's what I'm all about the taxpayer dollar. That's really a high on my priority as well. We overtaxed. I have like my neighbor next to me. She's 90 years old, living alone, fixed income about that big. COVID comes along, they still raise the taxes as though it was business as usual. And what about those people that don't have the extra and that have to do without maybe a warm house in the wintertime? Bills that are piling up. PUC isn't going down ever. And that's a whole other story. That needs to be corrected. And for these people, and that have worked all their life, and to be like you hear these guys come up and say, "Oh, Mrs. So-and-so, you're great. How old are you? 90. Oh, is that right? Well, you're living at home? Oh, that's terrific. You're living at home and you're 90 years old. Terrific." Then this way, that woman is not in the Davy home or one of these places, so she's at home. Now they nail her rate. They actually nail her with a high tax rate increase every year. And I think that's so unfair. Because you know how much it costs these days.
Oh, yeah. Well, going to No Frills, which used to be my cheap grocery store, but I'm not seeing that. I mean, it's still
the groceries are just gone through the roof.
Yeah, everything's 2 for something. I don't want 2, I want 1. So tell me, David, we'll talk about, homelessness is an issue in the city.
Yes, it is.
Drugs, opioid addictions, infrastructure needs. And I understand, and I actually do agree with you that the last council has so many ongoing projects that they lose sight of maybe what they were focusing on to create in the first place. Just saying that. So tell me, what you think of homelessness, or how this, like, these are big issues that everybody's nailing, but how do we hit all these issues, or like, what do we do?
Well, homelessness is more or less probably tied into so many things, like the opioid use, methadone use, youth. A lot of youth get hooked on this, and there's nothing but it's a disease that's infecting every city across North America.
Yes.
We're not
Good
the only
point.
ones. So what we're going to have to do is we have to have federal people on board so we can have the proper people that can deal with these mental issues, drug issues, that we can bring them in and have people here in Sault Ste. Marie that can deal with these people and get them off that or help them so they don't die. Right now, 12 years ago when I was on council, the big deal then, the big story was the out-migration of youth. Our youth are leaving town. They're all going to Toronto, Ottawa, wherever. They're just setting up shop there. And then what happens? Well, the parents are saying, well, my son and daughter-in-law are over there. I want to see my grandchildren.
Yeah, they moved
And
to
they
London
moved
or
too.
Hamilton.
Okay, now the out-migration of youth isn't to Ottawa or Sudbury or Toronto or Montreal. It's from here to that graveyard over there. And there's many, many of them, and they don't even tell you how many. There's many buried in that graveyard now because of that. And that's now it's a bigger issue than it was 12 years ago. Now how do you deal with that? Because you're not ever going to bring them back. So we had to find a way to cut this thing off at the stem here right now. And it might even be too late, I don't know. But what we need to do is have the proper medical people, and we have to have the proper people that can deal with these mental issues and the drug issues. Otherwise, it's just, it'll be running rampant, which it already is.
Yes, it is. And that is a good point. You made some great points today. Is there something else you would like to say to your ward? What's something in your ward that you might want to sit in council and say, okay?
So you want to start with, we'll start with something we talked about 25 years ago, and still I've seen one or two streets that were paved. Isn't that nice? You got a couple of streets in Ward 4 or 5 that were done, and that's good. Probably half the streets are streets we hardly ever use. But I have a plan.
Okay, what's your plan?
I have a plan, and my plan is this. You have city staff, sit down with them, if we want to see their layout of what their plan is, and then put my plan there in front of them, and I'm sure whoever's with me will agree. You take 4 streets in every ward and put that skimmer across that asphalt. That asphalt is recyclable.
Yes.
You can put that back down on that street, level it up, put that used asphalt back on the streets, which almost looks like brand new when they're done with it, because they throw new tar in and everything. And you redo this asphalt on those streets. There's 4 streets in every ward. Okay? And then, at the same time, you're digging up 4 streets or 5, whatever they can afford, in every ward.
Okay.
And we're talking infrastructure now. We're talking water
Underground
mains,
infrastructure.
services to the houses, sidewalks, curbs. That's got to be done because that's a mess. You go down any of the streets in my area there, and it's nothing but a mess. And I always called it Ward 5, the forgotten ward, because they seem to have forgotten all about us over there.
Well, you have the AODA, which is the Accessibility Act, where they're supposed to increase your sidewalk sites for those who are in wheelchairs or whatever, need the assistance walking. So
yeah.
Well, I like that plan.
And I'm all for the accessibility. I've always been. Even way back when they came to council, I support them because these poor people, they're out there. They want to shop. They want to go here or wherever they want to go. They have access with wheelchair and get into these buildings.
Yes.
A lot of them aren't accessible right now, still to this day. And I'm wondering, what's holding the city back? And are they forgetting about these people? Because they have just as much right to go in a store than I have.
Absolutely.
So they should have accessibility. Just because they're in a wheelchair and living at 39 inches, that's got to be pretty hard.
Very much so, yeah.
So what they can do is make it and fix it for these people as well.
Yeah.
Because we're here for this community.
Yeah, it's a very strong community that way. But I'm fairly new here, so a couple years in, and I feel a difference from where I come from, which is larger Hamilton. So I feel like the AODA, the Accessibility Act, was just put on municipalities from the upper levels. And then again, I've talked to other candidates. All three levels of government need to work together.
That's absolutely right.
For major issues now, but I do know that the cost to increase your doorways, your bathrooms, was on the municipality or the business owner themselves.
That's right.
You get,
That only makes sense.
yeah,
It's
for
common
sure.
sense.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And there's a lot of elderly people, even where I live in the area where I am, I see more and more power chairs they ride
Oh
in.
yeah, yes.
And
yes.
I see people in wheelchair going
Yeah.
around, but they haven't got to get in and out of, they can't get in and out of a lot of places around where I live.
Yeah. Well,
And they need to have that.
and then we could talk winter
accessibility.
maintenance at some point too, and that might be
Then, what was
winter
that?
maintenance, your snow removal and stuff.
Snow removal is a common thing. We got to keep them streets open, and then the curb part where the windrow comes in, like
Yeah.
when they plow the streets, they need that for these people. In Ward 5, and I know in pretty much also St. Marie,
Yeah.
it's a lot of elderly people,
Sure.
and someday they may have to need an ambulance, say,
Yes.
get in their driveway. How are they going to get in when it's all plugged up from the city and then nobody comes to clear it out for them?
Yes, I can hear the people in our office cheering for you right now, because we just had this conversation not too long ago with a couple of coworkers. So, it's nothing better than trying to hydroplane over top of that nice little mess in the morning. Well, David, it was lovely to meet you. I could talk to you all day.
I just want to, can I say something else?
Absolutely.
Well, we live in probably the best community in North America. It's right here. We have Lake Superior. We got all the water in the world. Where I'm looking around, I see like California and them are all running out of water. They're running out of power. Their grid is overdone. It's crazy. But I want to be part of making this the best community it can be and the best in Canada. And where we can have people coming to Sault Ste. Marie because they want to be here because it is the best.
Yeah.
But we have to have all the parts of the puzzle in place for these people to come here. And I just want to just make a mention of my plan for doctor recruitment.
Oh, you know what? I was going to say, I'm sorry to cut you off, David. I was going to say that to you when you said, well, how do we keep people here 12 years ago? And that went through my head, so I'm glad you brought it up.
So 12 years ago or 15 years ago, I had a plan. We had 2 hospitals on Queen Street
Yeah.
and the doctor's building right in the middle. Perfect. Nice setup. So they decided to spend, I don't know what it was, $9 or $10 billion on the one that they put up on the hill there. I think that the hospitals where they were fine. They're sitting on the St. Mary's River. That's the most therapeutical advantage a person can have after operation. Look how sea water is cold. And the air might be coming in a little bit and makes them feel better. But the whole deal is that if they abandoned them 2 hospitals and made apartment buildings out of one, I don't know what they did with the other, if they're sold or not. But what I'd like to see is, my plan then was to have those 2 buildings, take your asbestos out and all the stuff you need to take out. There's people that do that. Clear it right out, then start making classrooms in there. Doctors, where we could teach people to be doctors. We could teach them to be RNs, RPNs, healthcare aides, dentists. You got one doctor full of people learning. You got a doctor's building down right there between the buildings, but there's a walkway up above. And you walk over, then you have people that could be over there dealing with people that come in and they can work with these people that need help and these new people coming in. What that's going to do, and that's going to attract people from all over the world to be here for an education in medicine, doctors, and so on. So when they do that, can you imagine just that alone, the boost in that economy in Sault Ste. Marie? This place would take off like wildfire. And these people, you wouldn't have a problem having to get a doctor. We're teaching them here right now. When they graduate, come on over. You got a job. You're a nurse, you're on a job, come on over. Because they're learning here. And then while they're learning, they look around, they see more and more of Sault Ste. Marie, what we have to offer. We have a lot of awesome things to offer here. And not only that, we live on a border. We have a bridge over there. We have a waterway, a lock, a railway that goes across there. We have a steel mill over here that people can work there. If you want to do something,
complement the steel mill? How about fabricating steel for stoves and fridges, bumpers for cars? I don't know, but there's probably a billion things I couldn't even think of that they could do with steel and complement that. But they haven't done anything with that. There's nothing. But if we have that, more jobs, more people, more growth,
Better economy.
it's going to be booming over here. Not what they're calling us right now, and I take offense to that.
Yes.
They call Sault Ste. Marie the Elliott Lake of the North. And you know what I say?
What do you
I
say?
say that's a slap in our face. And that's another thing too, is that I want to get back to that people that deal with drug issues. They can teach these people to help these people, you know. But to have someone has to watch a program, W5,
Yes,
and then all these months go by, and someone at City Hall looks at staff and says, "Do we really have a drug problem in this town? You're 4 months too late." Now that was 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Now look where we're at.
Yes. And then falling through a pandemic, and
That's right.
whenever you go through terrible times.
That's right. And so we have to have our priorities straight. And so they have the irons in the fire. Sometimes, you know, when you have those days when there's just too much to do, and you're like, and I think maybe City Council and City Hall got overwhelmed by too much to do.
Okay.
And if they take one iron out and work at it, pick away at it a little bit at a time, and it can be done, it will be done. And that's where true leadership has got to come in.
Good.
And I think a lot of these councillors that are there, there's some are, and there's some aren't leaders. And there's some mayors that were leaders, true leaders, and
Yes.
some aren't.
Yep.
And I think that we got a true leader in there, leading the pack, and the other leaders at the table, we can do miracles.
Well, David, it was great talking to you. Have great plans. Actually, like I said, could talk some more to
Do you want to hear more about the police?
I could do, but we,
Did you want to hear
we
about
might have to have a part 2 with David Celetti.
Well, I think, I really do believe that the police station as it stands needs to be expanded, because they're so packed in there that they need an expansion. They need more room. They got a building, they can add to it, and add offices or whatever they need.
Yeah.
But we do need more staffing.
Yeah.
We do need more people. And if we don't have that, then you're going to have lawlessness.
Well, you're going to have a lot of crime when you don't have enough policing
Absolutely.
on the streets, and that's how it
Absolutely. And that's another whole other topic, I understand.
That would be part 3.
Part 3, that's right.
Well, thank you, David. I appreciate the time. I wish you...
I appreciate it too.
I wish you Ward 5.
All I can say is,
Ward 5.
vote Dave Celetti, Ward 4, Ward 5, Ward 4.
5.
I was Ward 5, but now they changed it. I looked at the map, and the map goes around there like the crow flies. It was like, it took me another 3 days to figure this out. I thought I knew it, but now I know it again.
Well, he definitely knows it now. So.
Yes, I'm learning. And you never stop learning in this process, and that's what makes
That's
it
a good thing.
so good and so unique.
Absolutely.
And I love it.
Good.
And I got lots of time. I'm retired. Call me 24/7. I don't care. Just call me. I'll be there for whenever you need
So
me.
when David knocks on your door,
If when I'm knocking on your door, or you might find my flyer in your mailbox, and you know what? I'm there for you. I'm a 1 or 2 person show, and I'm going to do this. I used to do it with my dad, but he's passed. So just carrying it on, you know.
Excellent.
And I appreciate it. I appreciate the people in the ward too. I love them all,
good.
and we're going to do it.
Awesome. Well, it was a pleasure to meet you, David. Awesome.
Pleasure to meet you too.
Take care.
Thank you.
Take care. Thanks. That's everything for One-on-One with Colette Linden and David Celetti. We will see you tomorrow.